But this wall was up in my head, like somebody was blocking me from giving him this prayer. And when I got it, it started. I don't know how to explain what started, just it started. God was talking to me, and I didn't hear him. Part of me heard him. Part of me knew. I got tissues here, because I'm probably going to cry my eyes out. Sorry. It's hard not to. So, I get to do the prayer, and the next part I remember that's significant is they had a group called H&I, Hospitals and Institutions, where these people would come in and speak. And by then, like, little things were starting to happen here and there. I can't remember the smaller ones, but it must have been enough that during this meeting, this dude that was talking, like at first I was acting up, cutting up, making jokes, acting like a jerk. But once I started listening, this dude was telling my story. Like, he was sitting across from me, and I'm like, he escaped from work release, he escaped from jail, he did this. It's like, me. I looked to the dude on my right, I'm like, yo, are you hearing this? Like, because they all knew what I was and who I was. Like, do you believe this? He's like, honestly, I'm not there yet. No. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Dude on the other side of me is like, yeah, I have no doubt. So, the next thing that happened was a group where this lady Roxanne spoke. She was an RT. And I just had a connection with this chick as soon as I got there. She was just so cool. And there was another dude, T-Bone, from Brooklyn, New York, or Bronx. And for some reason, and now I have to say this, and I don't want to offend anybody, I'm sorry if I do, I was a racist. Ignorant. I wasn't a Nazi, I wasn't AB or Aryan Nation or none of that. I ain't got no Swazi on me. But from being in jail so much, and from the way I was raised, I was ignorant. It's just how it is in jail. Like, you have to stick to your own kind pretty much, or there's problems. So, but this dude, I had a connection to him, and I still don't know why. I do now, actually, but like, we just clicked. He was this cool old head, we could talk. Anyway, Roxanne tells her story. And something she said clicked in me about from when I was a child with my mom getting beat and my father and all that. And I went into her office and I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried and sobbed, and I recognize now that God was breaking me down. Like, he was taking that shell off that I had, that fake persona. I didn't even know who I was. I was in my 20s then, and I still didn't know who I was. I was the person that I acted. I was violent, and a criminal, and a thief, and a drug dealer, and a drug addict, and I loved every second of it. And that's who I was. But that pain, all that was doing was trying to fill the hole. And the only thing I needed to fill that hole was my Father. Jesus, God. I filled it with every other thing imaginable. That didn't work. So, the next day is Saturday. And I call my girl, because visits are Sunday, and I'm like, listen, something is happening to me. Nobody believes me. You have to come see me. I know you'll believe me. Something is happening. Because once I got that dude that prayer, as the days went on and the hours went on, I had this feeling. And I will never be able to describe it again until I get it again. Or until I stand in front of my Father. Because that's what it was. It was like static electricity, but not. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm really sorry. But, she's like, yeah, I'll be there. I'm going to try and get a babysitter, because it was the first visit that I was going to be able to get. and the baby wasn't allowed to come yet. Yeah, that's another thing with the babies. I've had 2 sons. I've named them Joel Thomas and Elijah David. Elijah, me and my wife still don't know where that name came from. Just came. Joel Thomas was because I promised my father that I would not name my next son John, because I was like the 4th one, and he had this superstition about a curse that all John Wilkeses died at 49. But I did it to appease him. And I thought, I want the initials JW, but I thought, I don't know where I came up with Joel. At the time, I did not know that he was a minor prophet. Well, not a minor prophet. What he prophesied is happening now. But what are the odds that my 2 sons are named after prophets? Of all the... I don't... Excuse me. Sorry. Anyway. Next morning is Sunday, and they had a church service. And now you could either go to this church service, or you could go upstairs and listen to music and do spirituality. And that was, like, even though I wasn't a church-going person, that was a little too satanic for me. So I go to this church service, and the lady pastor that was doing it would not stop looking at me. And I'm almost positive that she quoted Joel. Your young men will dream dreams, your old men will prophesy, and no matter what I did or where I looked, this lady was staring at me. And her whole service was about prophecy, and like, of all the things to preach at a rehab, like, because it was God. God was speaking through her that day to me, personally. He was letting me know that all the things that have been happening have been coming from Him. And I better get ready, because what comes next will knock my shoes right off my feet. So then visiting hour comes. And I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. Karen doesn't show. Thinking, man, she's out getting high or cheating on me again. And I was so upset because I thought she would believe me. Like, I know I'm not losing my mind. I needed to talk to her. And I can remember thinking this. Why would you do this to me? Like, if nobody's going to believe me, I don't know how to explain it. Like, screw it. I don't want it. Pretty much. Like, why are you trying to help me, yet allowing me to feel this pain? And I go outside and I'm sitting down and wallowing in my stuff and mad and depressed and debating leaving, which would have caught me another escape. And I look up, and the first girl that I ever truly loved is standing in front of me, who I haven't seen in 1996 till 2003, 7, 8 years, probably 7. And she sits down, she's like, what's the matter? I tell her, she's like, listen, John, you are a good person. Do not let her screw you up. I took it as God telling me, you don't need nobody. And when you are ready, I will make you happy. Like, your life doesn't have to be based on anybody else. Now, something else happened that day, that night. I ended up in Roxanne's office crying again. And she gives me a speaker tape to listen to. We go to bed, and I got the speaker tape in, and I got this feeling all through me. Almost like a peace, almost, but not yet. Like a tingle. Tingle? Tingle. Tingle. Uh, and there's 4 people in my room. It's me, this kid Yak that I know, and 2 other dudes. And then there's another room with 2 other guys. And where we stayed was in what they called the farmhouse, because it was an old giant concrete farmhouse that if you dropped a bomb on it, it wouldn't even make a shake. And I got the speaker tape in, and I got this feeling going through me. And I hear Josh scream. I'm like, what, man? I take the headphones out. He's like, did you hear that? I said, what? He's like, I just heard the most blood-curdling pits of hell scream. And he was scared. Scared. And then the banging started. My bed. The walls in this place were probably 3-4 foot thick of concrete. And then block. And my bed was moving. Boom! Boom! It sounded like there was cannons going off in this room. If they lit off a howitzer in that room, I don't think it would have been that loud. Nobody else woke up. I'm like, I don't know, man. This is too much. I put the headphones back in. I wake up the next morning, go to AM group, go to breakfast. No, after AM group, I grab T-Bone, and I'm walking with T-Bone, and I'm telling him, like, all these things are lining up. Like, what? This happened, this happened, this happened, and last night with the banging, and this, and this, and this. And I told him about Alyssa, and Karen, and the baby, and the feeling I have, and I'm like, I don't know what to believe. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm nuts. If I tell anybody, they're not going to believe me. Like, I think I said, like, I think he's trying to tell me something, but nobody will believe me. And he said, it doesn't matter what they believe. What do you believe? And as soon as I said it, I didn't even get it out of my mouth. God knew that in my heart, I accepted the fact that he was trying to call me. Boom! Right to my knees. I think T-Bone caught me. I screamed, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, 3 times in a voice that I had never heard before. I still don't even know if I spoke it in English. And it was really like I was hit on the head and everything was pulled out of me. The hate, the rage, the violence, the misery, the sorrow, the depression. And he shoved himself into me. He filled me to the point every hair on my body stood up. Every cell in my body was full of God. Full of Him. It was the most beautiful feeling. My sons being born don't even come close. Nothing comes close. And nobody will understand it until they stand before Him. I've asked Him, please, but that's for Him. Like I've offered, take me, let them feel it for just 2 seconds. I'll give up my life right now. He already did that though, so He gets to make that decision. I hugged T-Bone and told him, you're my brother. And I meant it like I've never meant anything in my life.